engage your lat, it actually makes your elbow want to move forward. So you can feel it, just see how that elbow wants to go? Now I'm just gonna make sure that it doesn't dive down. I'm just gonna move it across plane. Don't twist your body. Y'all are gonna hear this a ton. So what I'm actually
important not to pull that elbow down to get this to happen. It needs to come straight across.
Yep. Just straight across.
Right? Otherwise, all your shots are coming down.
Elbow first. Remember, this is where
5'5", you're hitting a lot of leg shots.
Yeah. Also, by the way, train at your height for a little while. We're learning a new technique. Don't train at everybody else's height because you will bring in compensations to get there first. Learn a new technique at your height because it'll be the easiest for your body to memorize it. Yes?
Do you have a preference? So when I'm working with what you're telling me now, my other hand kind of naturally comes up here because it makes me more aware of what I should be working with. But maybe that's just a bad habit or anything else. Do you have a preference for, if I'm working with this arm right now, I'm focusing on everything that I can't do yet. And
if your other side is easier to get the technique, work on that side. So if you have an easier side while we're going through some of the training, do that, and then you and I can work through of like, I can touch your chest and be like, relax that muscle. So work to success. So that is also another thing that is a weird little pin in this. Work to success and work back to success. This is gonna be a thing, especially for the trainers here. If you have a student not getting a technique, but they can get the 90 degrees and collapse their shoulder, if they're getting frustrated with something, work backwards and go back to where they're successful. So this actually is literally a dopamine trainer. The human brain does not memorize shit under stress. It memorizes, don't do that, it sucks. That's all it does. And so when you're working with your students, bite-sized pieces, but always work backwards towards success. Don't work in frustration. If they're frustrated, work backwards. This is gonna sound derogatory, but it's the only way to put it. We don't do this in dog training and horse training. You don't run them into the ground. It's not how you get successful. The human brain, the only reason we're complex is that we have anxiety. That's it. We're a complex creature because we have an anxiety and a thought process that tries to connect all the dots. When you're training, make yourself simple. Because your brain will memorize it and make new neural pathways so much faster. That's where that comes from. If you have an easier side, learning a new thing, work on that. We need to actually, I think, release your lat muscle on that side. Because I think you're actually locked here. So there's a guard up in that shoulder.
okay.
After class, I'm going to put my thumb into your lat and we're going to see if it releases the shoulder.
That sounds like an experience.
You consented already.
It might be a little emotional.
A consent can be taken back anytime, Your Majesty.
That's true.
So, in that frame weight transfer, again, we're going to go over this a lot. In frame weight transfer, the goal is to get the hip for your sword hand or your power hand, since you are a clay fighter, to where you want the power to end. You're going to see me, I use a lot of back and forth. I use a lot of basic squat technique to deliver power. Because also, this means that I can just pick up my foot and move in a fight real easy.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. What is a lat?
a dumb question.
Oh, what's a lat? It's this muscle right here. So if you put your hand up and you grab your armpit, that is your lat.
What is it in Swedish?
My wings.
Wings.
Hey, Cormac, lat is the bit that you left purple the other day for me. Now we know.
This muscle all the way back here is your lat. This one. Yeah, it's what controls your shoulder blade use. So the one that's annoying. If you flex that, it should actually move your arm up and down. Yeah. It's the muscle when all the dudes flex, they try to like make it bigger, show off their armpits. All right. That is actually a really good question, by the way.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
It's big enough already. Tell him it's a stupid question.
Just ask him about his character on the Shield. So like, he's the only one without a head. All right. So, frame weight transfer. We are going to move this hip to where we want power delivered. Again, power delivered on the other side of the head. It can be as simple as this, or I'm gonna push that hip forward. This will depend on how healthy your knees are, by the way. I still have knees that like to do squats. If your knees do not like to do squats, a lot of the time you're gonna be stepping and then pushing your hip towards the opponent. So that hip is gonna move towards where I want to deliver power. It doesn't have to move past, because now I'm pointing this direction, right? And I've actually placed a huge strain on my knees. Unless I know how to twist my feet when I throw, this is how to blow a knee, by the way. This is the reason why we replace ACLs in this sport a lot. So, square on, I'm gonna go ahead and face my opponent with my toes also, because now my body is aligned to end exactly where I want it to. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push that hip forward. Can everybody make that motion where basically all you're doing is you're using your butt. By the way, we talked about glutes earlier. I'm just basically flexing that and pushing that hip forward. It's this motion. That's it. That's
like
Just one side.
one glute. You're gonna
That's
have
what I
one
thought. I was
really
like,
nice
is it
ass cheek.
bold or is it...
So upper end, by the way, you can push pull. So you can actually move your hips back and forth that way, and you end up, it's a full body thing. This is the starter. Yeah, but it's just that one side. All I'm doing is flexing that and pushing that hip towards my opponent. So with you, you can actually, see how you're C-shaping? So here's, again, where core is really key. If your core is either too locked out when you do this, and you push your hip forward, what happens? Everything goes, right? You don't need everything to go, you just need a little bit. Also, if you're too relaxed, what'll happen is you'll push and your body turns into a C shape. Because now there's nothing supporting the motion. Engaged core means power. Okay, so from here, facing your opponent, all I'm gonna do is push that hip towards where I wanna go. This hand leaves when the lat, so push that hip, engage the lat, and that hand will automatically, don't twist so much. So you notice how you just twisted right off? So that lat is gonna want to go, and my hand should almost automatically stop on the other side of my opponent's head.
Can you say that again, slowly?
Slowly. So
And this time with feeling.
This time with
You can ignore him.
So, the breakdown of this is I am going to push with my glute, and I am going to not do a lateral frame weight transfer. I'm going to go with forward. I'm going to push with my glute, let my hip go first. I'm going to engage my lat, and then I'm going to let my body go. Yeah. And this is where it'll just take some time. Just make sure you're not C-shaping. Things we want to look for in this technique. The body turning into a C shape. That means what?
Not engaging your core.
Engage the core.
Not engaging your core. If I over-engage my core, what happens?
Your whole body.
Can't
Whole
move.
body goes, right? And then we look much more like that traditional, you whip your hips around to create power, which I used to be a total proponent of. So,
That's how you taught me before.
it is how I taught you before. I got better,
It was
okay?
only 9 years ago.
I got better. All right.
How do I know if I am accidentally twisting instead of just pushing?
I'm gonna yell at you. Okay, so accidentally twisting. So that twisting across. So this is the reason why we actually learn how to do this in a box stance, is because if you're twisting, you're actually gonna feel it in your knee and the inside of your foot. Because if you twist, that's where all your weight goes. It's in that inside of the foot. So everybody lock out, you know, like everybody, I want you to twist leaving your feet. If you have a knee injury, please don't re-injure yourself. Okay? And then you're gonna twist. Where do you feel it in the body?
All the way down.
It's like here.
All the way down, likely in the, yep. Your knee wants to buckle because it wants to save itself. If you are pushing that hip forward, you can stay in a rounded stance without your feet almost changing at all.
Weird.
But I mean,
I am so used to.
That twist.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's so much better.
Yep.
My knees don't hurt.
your
at
knees
all
don't
doing
hurt.
that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So this technique works in almost every foot stance. I teach it in a box stance because it's the easiest to get the body moving correctly. Do you feel how you're dipping? To do that, it's okay. Right now, just across and through. There you go. Now, push that hip towards where you want to go. Yep. Now, see how you want it? You twisted to do it. I want you to push it forward so that you're going to get a little bit of bend in this knee here. That forward motion. If you leave your legs completely stiff, you're going to create a twist because there's nowhere for that hip to go.
Oh.
Think about sitting down into it a little bit. So I sit down. Just a little, yeah. Less, but better. Better. And see how your knees can now stay free when you do this? So, by the way, here's the one thing. I believe in techniques where if I throw a shot, I can snap kick somebody in the knee. If I cannot kick by the time I am leaving my hand out here, I'm out of balance. I'm also mean, by the way. Okay. No, I'm just watching.
Can I grab your shield and you throw a shot into your shield?
Yep.
Demonstrating all of this?
Yep. Okay, everybody gets loud noises now. And then we're all going to pair up, and I'm going to wander around, but we're going to work on this real quick. Okay, I'm going to show you traditionally, real quick. Okay, I'm going to hit it below the boss so I don't whack you in the head because I don't need to black your eye. Okay, traditionally, what we do is we load across, right? So we're going to throw ourselves. So, just with this push. It should be recreatable over and over. I am not turning off my opponent. Yes, no?
Yep.
You guys all want to do this to each other now?
Yep.
Okay.